ChemGes offers various methods to manage the output of companies on the safety data sheet. The simplest way to do this is to use only one company address. Sometimes one has to change a few details, such as the telephone number or the exact company name. To do that, go to the SDS and click on the company address, thus moving the red frame. Then press F2 to enter the maintenance of phrases. Perform all necessary alterations, press Escape until you are back in the safety data sheet, and the phrase will be changed in all safety data sheets. The next type of phrase maintenance is for companies that want to use a specific company address per country, for example companies that have a location in each country in which they sell their product. This is also easy to customize. For example, let us assume that the company is located in Great Britain but also sells to Italy. For the Italian SDSs, the Italian address is to be output instead of the British address. To do this, go to the Italian SDS and navigate to the company address. You will see that since no Italian company address has been entered yet, the British company address will be output. Press F2 and enter the Italian company address. If needed, you can now access another language directly in the maintenance of phrases to enter the company address for the next country. After leaving the maintenance program, the Italian company address is output in every Italian SDS. For all other SDSs, unless you have entered other translations, the British company address is used. In summary, whenever a country version of the company address is available, it will be output in the SDS. If no dedicated country version is available, then the address of the home country, which is in our case Great Britain, is output. If you, for example, output a Greek SDS, the British address will be used because no Greek address was found. Please note that it may also be necessary to perform modifications to phrases at Information Department, Emergency Telephone Number, Department issuing SDS and Contact. The next example would be when one address is to always be output, but additionally a second address for a corresponding delivery warehouse or sales outlet should appear too. This is also not difficult. Simply go to the Manufacturer-Supplier heading. Press F2 to access the maintenance of phrases. Press F10 to get the next phrase number or enter a phrase number manually. Enter the address and press Escape or Tab. If you want this additional address to be shown in every SDS, then click on Conditions and Output Options. There you select Output automatically in every SDS. If you want this second phrase to be used only in certain countries, then click on Permitted Countries. Here select the countries for which this phrase is to be output. For example, if you want this phrase to be output only for Italian and Czech safety data sheets, then select these two countries. Again, if there is a translation in the respective country version, then it is used, otherwise the translation for the home country is output. Thus you don't have to enter translations for Italy and Czech Republic if it is acceptable to output the English text. Usually, if you want to define that the English text is used in the absence of a translation, you would have to activate the item, copy if translation is missing, but this item is implicitly activated for this heading. This means that for the heading 14010 the text in the home language is always used if there is no translation available. In case that you are not familiar with this option, copy if translation is missing causes the program to first check whether there is a translation for the required SDS country. If there is no such translation, then the program will search for a translation in the language defined within this condition. Many companies have several company sites within one country, use different company names at the same site, or manufacture products on a contract basis for other companies whose names should then of course appear in the safety data sheet. For this purpose, additional companies must be created as already described above. However, the option, Output automatically in every SDS, should not be selected in this case. Instead, you should select the option, phrases to delete after transfer and select the item, deletion of all other phrases of this heading after selection. This will cause only this one phrase to remain after selection. Of course, this must be done for all defined company addresses, otherwise it would not work. There are two ways now to get the correct company address into the safety data sheet. Manually, you just launch the overview and select the desired company. You can see very well that since the option, phrases to delete after transfer is enabled, the existing company address is removed and replaced by the new company address. If you prefer to select the additional company addresses manually and the automatic update options for the company name are activated, then you should deactivate at least this one item, otherwise the original address will be automatically calculated and output each time the SDS is opened. This can be avoided by deactivating the automatic updates for the respective safety data sheet, or by ensuring that the option, output automatically in every SDS is not activated for any address phrase. Of course, this also applies to other options concerning the automatic output of phrases. If the structure of your data allows it, then you probably want the program to select these phrases automatically. We will show you this using an example with flags, where we create flags for two different types of products. One product type is construction chemistry, while the other one is adhesive chemistry. We now create a flag called type that contains these two types of information. If you are interested and require additional help with creating flags, there is a video on the DR Software channel on YouTube where my colleague Lionel explains the management of flags in detail. Now you must define for the SDS phrases under which conditions which phrase should appear. To do this, we go again to the maintenance of phrases, there to the conditions, and then we click on flags. There we select the created flag with the abbreviation, type, and choose which content should result in this company address. Thus, since we are in the address of the company, which produces the construction chemicals, the item content construction chemicals has to be selected. Now this does not mean that the program would automatically know what kind of product it is. This is defined by clicking on flags in a product and then choosing the product type. This now means that whenever the flag type in the product matches the flag type of the phrase, exactly this phrase will be output, provided either a new SDS is created, or an update to an existing SDS is performed. Please note that the flag must be set for all products for which the company address is to be output automatically. To ensure that these updates are always performed automatically, at a minimum the automatic update for the company data should be activated. If, for some reason, one does not want the company address to be changed automatically, then the automatic update for the respective SDS needs to be deactivated. The use of flags is only one of several methods to assign company addresses to an SDS. You can of course use other options for this purpose. A completely different method for selecting company addresses can be found in the administration of variants. Variants are other versions of the same substance with different product codes and descriptions. These are used when selling the same product in different container sizes or when the product is simply marketed under different names. We will now create a variant, which is quite simple. Each of these variants can be assigned a company. If no company has been entered for the variant, the company, which is already in the SDS, remains unchanged. If you now print an SDS for a variant, all existing addresses in the SDS are automatically replaced by the company, which is assigned to the variant. Another method is to assign specific companies to individual users, as it is possible that each user of the program works for a different company. For this, the use of passwords must be enabled. In the user administration, it is then possible to define which company should be used in the SDSs that this user prints. In most cases, it is not enough to select only the company address. Often, the information department, emergency telephone number, department issuing SDS or contact should be changed as well. For our examples, we will assume that you have already created the country-specific phrase versions for these headings. Then all you have to do is to go back to the maintenance of phrases for your company address and access the options there. There you will find the option Allocated Phrases. Under Allocated Phrases, you can specify the phrases that are to be automatically output when the phrase is automatically or manually selected. This means that if the company is selected, these phrases will also be output. Note that all other options, such as phrases to delete after transfer, copy if translation is missing, and permitted countries must be defined for each of these allocated phrases separately. For company phrases only, there are also special settings for the output of the company logo and other types of output such as formatting. For most of our customers, it will be important to know that it is possible to print both the standard company logo and the substitute logo on the SDS at the same time, but that it is also possible to replace the standard company logo with the logo assigned to the phrase. Some customers require a different type of percentage output than it is set as default for standard SDSs. Furthermore, some SDS recipients may request that you output the official chemical descriptions instead of the generic SDS descriptions that you may have defined. If you have not activated the automatic update options, then it may be necessary to update the SDS section with the ingredient tables when calling up the SDSs for this company. Since you are able to create different SDS templates, it is also possible to assign them company-specific.